Today's topic is the story of Marshmallow. What did you pay for? Do you want success? How many hours a day do you work in Atomy? Self-control is the power to control the feelings and desires by oneself. Success requires self-control. In psychoanalysis, it is called delayed gratification. Why am I studying so hard in high school? If you don't put up with the dating and basketball and entertainment, you cannot go to a good college. Delay my satisfaction. If you put up with it for 15 minutes, you can have 2 marshmallows. If you eat one now, you won't get one more. It is a restraint now. I'm going to get bigger in a few years. Self-control. Many experiments have shown that IQ alone cannot be successful. With only IQ, human life cannot be predicted. What explains human social achievement and success? So a lot of scholars have done their research. And it is not IQ, it is EQ, emotional intelligence. In other words, if you cannot self-control, you cannot be successful. Self-control means even if you want to sleep late in the morning and you don't want to go to school early, but you will be able to do so in order to take classes. Self-control. Marshmallow experiment. Walter Mischel, 1930, the Stanford Marshmallow Study. They experimented with this. So they have experimented later at many universities. But at the University of Pennsylvania, the marshmallow effect is so powerful that it's superior to IQ. In other words, those who endure 15 minutes for marshmallow when he was 4 years old have better high school and college grades than those who have 130 IQ. Children who endure for 15 minutes when they were 4 years old had a better high school performance. 2/3 of the children ate marshmallow. Only 1/3 of the kids endure to the end. But the problem is not to be patient. It is impossible for a child to endure 15 minutes for marshmallow. Don't drink coffee for the coffee-addicted adults. It is the same as doing it. The question is, how did they endure the marshmallow for 15 minutes? That's the problem. That is the key point. If you have a parent next to you, you cannot self-control. Parents might say, don't eat. So my mom's study hard is of no help. Useless. They have observed kids who have eaten this, and children who eaten were looking at marshmallow. Even if he said, don't eat to himself, the kids who were watching have eaten 100%. But the kids who didn't eat marshmallows were the kids who didn't see marshmallows themselves. Turn back to seeing and kick his desk from his side or look at the ceiling. In other words, these kids who have the ability to turn their attention have endured. They found this. That's what it's all about. So after 13 years of follow-up studies, the difference between the children who didn't eat and those who ate has gone out like this. So that's a big shock to American society. What the heck is this? Does 15 minutes of patience determine our success in a human life? The kids who endure for 15 minutes knew how to resist the temptation. He knows how not to fall into game addict. In other words, he knew how not to take drugs. He uses self-control in everything. So, is it possible to improve self-control by training? Possible studies. It appears to be possible in animal experiments. Students who were trained to exercise self-control were found to be far superior in resisting the temptations. Children's self-control has also been shown to be improved by parental attention and training. That is the biggest problem. Is it born or is it acquired by training? What happens if my self-control is born from my parents? Even if you live with a lifelong resentment of your parents have nothing to say because you were born like that. So now many scholars are starting to experiment with whether this is innate or acquired in many universities. Now start the second experiment. Professor Mischel was wondering that this is an environment factor. If it is an environment factor, the parent can improve the environment. So she did this test. So So he gave marshmallow to the plate, but this time she gave it to a bowl and covered it with a lid. I cannot see the marshmallow, so who created the environment where marshmallows didn't look visible? It is made by an adult. Then the patient doubled. In other words, if children are not exposed to hazardous environment, their endurance is doubled. Let's say you told your children to study. In fact, you're watching television. Children cannot study it. The problem is the environment. So don't be impatient that your child doesn't study. At that time, mom and daddy are sitting with the Even magazine. So your child is not to be exposed to the harmful environment of television. The child is then increased to 2 hours of studying from 1 hour. It turns out that just changing the environment doubles children's patience and self-control. Correlation between thought and patience. How does an adult world relate to patience? So they divided it into 3 groups of children and tell A group that you should think funny things until the teacher came in. And he didn't say anything to group B. For group C, he said that you think of 2 marshmallows. They did marshmallow test again. Then they checked the patience. And A group is 30 minutes, and B group is 6 minutes, and C group is 2 minutes patience. In other words, if you keep thinking about marshmallows, you cannot stand them. Depends on adults talking. Children's endurance varies more than 6 times. If mom and dad sit down and fight every day, or always talking about the food that they ate, you cannot help your children. You shouldn't just talk about that. You have to tell them that you can get out of temptation. Is it an environment or a characteristic? A study by the University of Rochester, they experimented with how patience would happen, depending on whether children believed or didn't believe in adults. So they divided the children into 2 groups. They are going to split it into 2 groups and give them a cup. And today's class is to decorate it very nicely. Then the teacher gave them a used crayon. Then the teacher said to both rooms that I will bring a very good confetti to you that you can decorate it. Then the teacher gave confetti to first group. But for the second group, teacher said, when I went there was nothing and come with empty-handed. So the kids are fooled by the teacher, right? Once again, teacher said that I will give you a confetti. And teacher gave it to A group again. But teacher said again to the second group that there was no confetti. They did another marshmallow test. A group had endured 4 times better than the B group. The kids who believe in adults have endured 12 minutes. The kids didn't believe it. They only endured 3 minutes. In other words, trust is so important. So they are adult mirrors. So if your children is not studying and he is trying to do things that's constantly squid, if you look like that, you have to check what's wrong with their actions. It's not something that you can scold. This series of experiments has continued. So this is a severe conclusion. Children who have grown up in a trust environment, high self-control and satisfaction delay. In other words, I now take the pain to achieve greater social achievement. That's what it is all about. So what is important to us is that the trust environment between sponsors and partners and between companies and operators is very important. We have to trust each other. Then who should do first? I have to do it first. This raises the question again. If patience is high, will it succeed? It's not. Absolutely not. If you misinterpret the marshmallow experiment, if I have a strong patience, then I will be successful. Absolutely not. So this is the foundation of success. Head study, mind study, and body study. Some of the mind studies are self-control. Self-control. Invent time your self-control in Atomy. I've lost all the meetings and focused on my time on the Atomy. How many hours do you work your day? How many hours do you work in Atomy? Usually 3 hours and 4 hours, right? If you work only 3 to 4 hours, when will you succeed in Atomy? Is $40,000 per month a small amount of money? The company is going to give you $40,000 and $20,000 per month. But why do you not believe and pay for it? Because Atomy give you money later? Postpaid? Will you do it if you receive money upfront? You have to be sure of that. From the very beginning, I was conceived that I would receive $40,000 per month. So I made people hard. I'm making YouTube to save time. I've been working on it for about a year now. I've met over 2,000 people. Why? I saw the vision in Atomy. $40,000 is a pension income. If you are busy what you are doing now, you cannot do the Atomy. You don't have self-control. Focus on the Atomy. In a few years, you will receive more marshmallows. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.